is there any reason, perhaps IG or yourself as a government in Imo State discovered behind the direct assault on security agents or agencies or the Nigerian police force in Imo State? Any reason behind that? Why are they doing that?
Well, it is not limited to Imo State alone. Of course, you can see the wave of banditry across the country today. There's banditry in the northern part of the country, banditry in the southern part of the country, banditry also in the eastern part of the country. But there are peculiarities state by state. Some of these crimes are being supported. Recall that 2 years ago when this thing started in Imo State, when the bandits attack police stations, as they're leaving from the scene of crime, people will be clapping for them. People will be laughing with them. So the people took this thing as if it was a kind of entertainment. But incrementally, lives were lost. Incrementally, assets were destroyed. Incrementally, police stations were destroyed and burnt down. Individual homes. Some targeted politicians were also, their houses were burnt. So we took personal interest to begin to investigate the reason behind this. I told you times without number in Imo State, some of the cases of banditry here are politically contrived. Some are the real attacks by bandits. So I think that the kind of politics with bitterness that is going on in the state and some part of this region should really be condemned. And that is why we have decided to embark on both kinetic and non-kinetic approach. We've engaged the community leaders, we've engaged the vigilante approach, we've engaged people into dialogue, getting traditional rulers to embark on reconciliation, address the political grievances of some politicians who have not been able to manage the defeat or losses they got from the last election. So, but we are on it. I think we are getting close to a final solution to the issue of banditry and kidnapping and all these sorts of crimes in Imo State.
So, I mean, you mentioned, a few times we've spoken about this in an interview with us here. You've said that some of these things are politically backed. And for tonight, we would like you to clarify to us. You've mentioned bandits, sometimes unknown gunmen, terrorists. What exactly are the major issues here in Imo State? As in the case of bandits, linked to the northwestern region of the country, or terrorists, the Boko Haram that we see in some parts of the country, or the unknown gunmen that are peculiar to the southeastern region, or in Imo State, it's just pure politics and brigandage that is involved here.
Well, Sean, all these jargons came from people like you, whether they are called unknown gunmen, whether they are called bandits, whether they are called armed robbers or kidnappers. The fact still remains that the common denominator is that people are being killed, assets are being destroyed, violence is being encouraged. So all we are saying, even the Nigerian military has decided even to reform their curriculum to now bring experts that will now teach our soldiers, our security agencies of this modern kind of crime that was not here before this time. So everybody, we were all taken on unawares. But the good news is that we have risen to the occasion. So we are now going to address the issues. One thing we've not gotten from 1999 to today is how to manage political defeats. Our democracy is highly threatened because of that. People are not doing politics with the spirit of sportsmanship as it is practiced in other climes. People are so bitter when they're not able to have their way. And they can go to any length to make sure that individual interests or personal interests are achieved. But I think that gradually we are coming to terms with the realities of the time.
Now, I mean, you when you say this in Imo State, the peculiarity is about politics of bitterness. Have you been able to come around to those who are perhaps behind all of these? Maybe identify the players or the perpetrators or those behind it. Have you been able to do that? When you say that you are coming to a very point to solving it permanently, what exactly do you mean?
Well, what I mean is that the investigation in some of these cases have gotten to advanced stage. And what you want to get tonight may not be possible because some of these matters are still being investigated by security agencies. By the time they come up with their final reports, it will be made public to all of us. And that time, you may be able to know the identities of some of those behind the banditry in Imo State.
Those that have criticized the Vigilantes and the Ebubago in Imo State, what is going on? Is this underhandedness, or how are you identifying some of their excesses such that innocent people are not being unnecessarily harassed or killed in the process?
The Ebubago is a vigilante group in Imo State. And how do you become a member of Ebubago? The community leaders, through their town union and traditional rulers, submit names of young men and women willing to help with the services of vigilante arrangement that Imo State government created. It is a product of a legislation. There is a law backing Ebubago by Imo State House of Assembly. And the approach is to get communities to be involved, collect intelligence, and then hand this intelligence to security agencies. And the Ebubago has no sophistication, like the kind of rifle, the kind of gun that the bandits are carrying all along. Ebubago they are not armed. Ebubago is a vigilante arrangement who, when they see unusual movements, they pick it up and they report to security agencies to work with. So it's not as if it's a kind of a security force that goes to war or that can kill or that or that. So I am saying that those who are not interested in having a peaceful atmosphere, a peaceful environment in Imo State are those that are criticizing Ebubago. Some of these bandits are now operating as Ebubago. Of late, we discover that bandits will attack a particular place. And the next thing, because they have their syndicate, the next thing you will see, they come up with a propaganda. Ebubago have attacked. But between me and those who are in charge of Ebubago and the security agencies, they know that Ebubago doesn't have the capacity to attack men with sophisticated arms. So that is why the political undertone of the criminality in Imo State is gradually being unraveled. And at the end of the day, we'll come to town with the real story. So it is not about Ebubago.
Perhaps,
legitimate.
Yeah. So let's perhaps wrap up on the issue of the internal security in Imo State. All right. So, and I'd like to ask, how many of those members of the Vigilantes do you have in Imo State? Like your colleague governor in Benue State, who is requested to the president that the local vigilantes that are set up in that state should be armed. Would you also be considering that Ebubago and the vigilantes in Imo State should carry arms?
So Ebubago in Imo State, I'm not talking about Benue because I don't know the situation in Benue. Ebubago in Imo State, I'm not going to arm them. Rather, Ebubago should do collaborative contribution and work with security agencies who are sufficiently armed by government. You know the provision of security, like the police, like the army, like the Navy, like the Air Force, is under the exclusive list. So as a federating unit, I don't know where I will get the mandate or the statute that will enable me to procure sophisticated arms to give to local people like Ebubago members who have not been trained. So you don't assault to an injury.
All right, let's move into politics quickly. But before we do that, the usual weekly stay at home, how is that working out in your state? Is it dowsing out or is it still there?
Well, if you come to Imo, there is nothing called sit at home anymore. The people are going about their businesses. People are going about whatever they want to do. Of the workers go to work, traders go to do their businesses. We have been able to encourage and support our security officers to occupy the space and ensure that the people are protected. There may be pockets of cases here and there in Imo State at the stage, but with time, I'm sure those things will be over.
Is there anything like the wave of obedient movement in your state? Because what we are hearing is that political movement that is going to affect the southeastern region of the country and the 5 states. Those who belong to the obedient movement, the Peter Obi supporters, are saying, look, they will take the 5 states of the southeast 100%. Those are some of the political permutations of those who are supporting Peter Obi. Is that fever catching Imo State? You are the leader of APC in that state.
I think I'm a politician, and you know my party is APC. And I have my candidates in my party. And I know that we are currently consulting and speaking to our people to vote for our candidates. So, and I'm concerned with what will come out of my campaign for my party. I don't want to join issues with Peter Obi, who you know is not a member of my party. But I know members of APC are obedient to APC.
Oh, so there are obedience also in APC?
I don't know what you mean. The meaning of obedient that means English. Loyalty to party is supreme.
What would you say you have done to convince them to vote for your party in the next dispensation?
I'm very confident that the reasonable minds in Imo State will vote for my party.